those of us who were raised in the village, we were raised Kenyeji. You know that, isn't it? But are we Kenyeji today? Did anybody sit you down and had a discussion with you on the few moderations and modifications and adaptations and the changes you may need to play around with? Nobody did that. It's called social learning, which means you learn stuff according to your environment. You may sit down. Please clap for them. So I hope I'm making sense that our children, to a large extent, are learning. They are in the process of learning according to their social environment. And what are the two social environments that our children find themselves in most of the time? It is at home and at school. It all begins at home. Now, listen to me very carefully. Na tafadhali usinichukie, because the things I will touch on are most likely true. If you know that ukikasirika, lazima tutasikia sauti ya kitu. Glass, kikombe, sahani. Please know, it is very likely that your children will learn socially. They will adapt social learning to communicate themselves the same way. Once upon a time, and I'm being vulnerable here. Once upon a time, so I'll give two examples to make sure I am safe. Once upon a time, I watched my son, the one who is now in campus. He was very young, about 1.5, 2 years. So one day, I asked him to stop doing what he was doing. And then I saw him making, some faces, and I was asking myself, what's this boy trying to do? Then it slapped differently. I actually realized that my son was modeling how I express myself when I am annoyed, or when I'm telling him, wacha, takuchapa utaniona, don't do that. I realized he was trying the things that he see me doing. And from that day, I changed my behavior. Not so long ago, I realized that my daughter would wake up, and when she wakes up in the morning, during those early hours, if you talk to her, she'll respond to you in a certain way, and she would, a little temper tantrum here and there. And the mother would pick a bone with her, akimsomea how she's supposed to behave and how not to behave. And I remember we had that little pillow talk. And I said, by the way, this happens a lot in this house, so usimsome. Jipange tu history ingine itajipa. If you missed the joke, you've missed. I cannot emphasize it beyond that. If you've missed the joke, you've already... Yeah, if I take it beyond here, I might be in court. But you hear what I'm saying? Do you hear me? So please, understand that there is a lot of who we are as individuals. There is a way we communicate. There is a way we express our emotions today as adults. And a lot of that has nothing to do with you. A lot of that is a pattern that you just inherited. You didn't inherit it genetically. You inherited it through learning. You learned that that's how your parents communicate. You learned that that's how your parents resolve their conflicts. You learned that that's how your parents make their point. You know what it means to make, I've made my point. So there is a lot that we do as adults today, which has nothing to do with our intentional choice on how to behave, how to communicate, and how to express our emotions. We just learned as a pattern. But that does not mean that you are condemned to uphold that. It is possible for you to do what we call differentiation. It is possible for you to say that I can now look and see that this pattern is a pattern that I have inherited by observing my parents. And sometimes if you watch further up to the next generation, you'll actually realize that your parents have also brought that pattern